9440, 4405. 9440, 405, 19, 05, 19.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jon Garlick, and I'm here with Sheriff Matthew Wade, and this is Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Sheriff, it's Election Day.
It's Election Day. It's a runoff. A lot of people, you know, they get fired up about elections, and then sometimes we have runoffs like we do today, and people need to know to get out there and vote, and it makes a difference. Every vote counts.
Every vote does count. And speaking of things counting,
Hey,
let's take a look at
3
our
arrests
count.
this week. Brings our count up to 5,063 people arrested, all because somebody was willing to get involved. And we do appreciate your information. We can't do it alone. I say that every week, but we do have to have help, and it is a community involvement. So thank you very much.
The Sheriff's Office always supporting the community in Calhoun County, and the Calhoun County gives back. So pay attention to the first half of the lineup as we move forward, and we have a really cool guest waiting for you here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up this week, Diane Reeves, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance. And this is Michael Raymond. Mr. Raymond, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on obstruction of justice by using a false ID and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And take a look at Dina Knowlton. Miss Knowlton, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance. And this is Jackie Williams. Mr. Williams, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for assault second. And we'd like you to meet Heather Gibson. Miss Gibson, last known to be living in Oxford. She's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance and possession of marijuana second. Meet Donricus Stewart. Mr. Stewart, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on an aggravated cruelty to animals and possession of controlled substance. And this is Gregory Overman. Mr. Overman, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana first, and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And that's it for the first half of the lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. Welcome back. I hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup. You might know where they are. If you do, call Sheriff Matthew Wade. You call, he hauls. We're here with the mayor of Hobson City, Mayor Alberta McCrory. Welcome back. We like to have you on like once a month because Hobson City is just growing and doing some wonderful things.
You know, John, I really appreciate that so much, and I thank you for giving us this platform to talk about Hobson City because people watching us on YouTube, and I know that because I've heard from some people who have, you know, sent me messages that they've seen us on the Most Wanted. Glad I'm not wanted for anything else.
You're not either.
So I appreciate that, and Sheriff, I always appreciate you and what you do for Hobson City to help keep us safe.
Well, there's a tremendous partnership there, isn't there,
Yeah,
Sheriff?
absolutely.
How does that work?
Well, the city of, Hobson City is actually a very wonderful place. And I was out there a couple of weeks ago. Me and the mayor both were out there, and they were doing a barbecue cook-off, and I was lucky enough to be the judge of. And that's a tough place to be for one because it's all so good. But they were raising funds for children in Hobson City. So a lot of times people want to say things, but their community is very tight, and they do a lot of good things for each other.
So who won the cook-off?
Hobson City won. It was against Central City, and Hobson City won. And they were trying to say the sheriff was bought off, and that did not happen. That did not happen.
You just like good barbecue.
I did. I left. I brought a bunch of money with me to help support them, and when I left, I ate on barbecue for a while because it was all delicious. So me and the mayor both was buying some barbecue before we left.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, that was a fundraiser for the Sabre Learning Center that Mrs. Holloway operates for children in Hobson City. So it's a great program.
Wonderful. So what's coming up?
And so right now, starting today, we have a couple of sessions. It's not an entire summer camp, but we have a camp going on at the FEMA building for children in Hobson City. And most of the children who are participating are in that health literacy program. But if anybody comes, we're not turning anybody away. So they're there, I believe, from 9:30 to 12:30. Just it's not an all day camp, but they'll have activities for them and feed them and let them enjoy being there and being safe and out of the heat. And
so how long is that camp going on then?
this is going, I believe they're going to do 3 days this week and 3 days next week.
Oh, nice.
And then we're looking at doing some other things over the summer that we can do with our kids. Kind of keep them, like I said, safe and give them a safe place to go while they're out of school.
So if people want to take their kids down there, where do they go and how do they do that?
Okay, today they will be at the FEMA building, and that's behind the school building.
Okay.
And they are there from, I believe, 9:30 to 12:30.
So they just go down there?
They can
show
just
up?
go down there. They can just show up.
Well, there you go. All your kids are grown. You can't take them.
They are all grown.
And like I
So
said,
am I.
it's for the kids and the health literacy, but we're not turning anybody around that wants to participate.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So what else is going on?
Well, last week, we've been talking about our Founders Day coming up, and I do want to let the people know that when we have the banquet for Founders Day, we're not going to be rolling out the plan for restoring the building at that time because we've got to get some other things in place. We've got the rendering of the building that we've got to have in place. The people on the committee wants to have that in place before we do that. But what we will do that night is give you a sneak preview of what's going to come next, which will be the preservation of the building. So we still want everybody to come to the banquet. Charles Person is going to be our guest speaker, and a lot of us in Anniston knows Charles because of he was on the other bus. He's one of the Freedom Riders. He's also an author, and he's going to be our guest speaker for Thursday, the 18th of August at 6 at the Anniston City Meeting Center.
Right.
And all the funds that we raise helps to support preservation projects in Hobson City. And right now, that school is one of the biggest projects that we have because economic development is tied into that. We think that if that school, we want that to become the epic center of the community. We don't have, I won't say we don't have anything, but that school is so important to that community, and it's a piece of property that the city owns that we can have some say about how it's used and how it's developed. And with the things that, and we're getting ideas from people all the time in terms of, how that space can better be used. And we talked about incubator space and all that kind of stuff. And I have people who want to do private technical training programs and things of that nature. So, and the more, being on this show has really helped a lot because it's getting the message out there about Hobson City and some of our needs, and people coming, people calling, offering to help. I had a gentleman to bring a young lady who's doing an internship in Anniston, just wanted to meet me as mayor of Hobson City. And he came to bring her, and he got interested in what we're doing. And he has offered to help to do some things, and so that's how that rolls. And just last week we had the team from the University of Alabama. Their Center for Economic Development has included us in a project that they are doing in several cities throughout Alabama, and it's called they call it ENI for short, which is Equitable Neighborhoods Initiative, and they're initiating healing zones in different areas across the state, and they don't have to be a city park. It can be a building that you may have, maybe a community center or something, where they want to create a healing space for people to be able to go to. And this came out of the COVID situation, so they want a nice, calm place to go to.
Excellent.
And so last week we had the architect, who's a registered licensed architect, to come. And that helps a whole lot, because when somebody comes and they know how to help you design a park, as opposed to me going out there saying, well, I want a bench here and a shrubbery here and something else there. But you have someone who is licensed and trained to help you make the best use of that space.
Well, we want to talk more about that. We've got to take a break.
Okay.
So you stay with us, and
I'll
stay tuned for the second half of the lineup and come right back to us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Shakisha Davis. Miss Davis, last known to be living in Oxford. She's wanted for failure to appear on promoting prison contraband. And this is Joseph Kelly. Mr. Kelly, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance and criminal mischief first. And take a look at Corey Gilland. Mr. Gilland, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of marijuana first, obstruction of governmental operations, and carrying a pistol without a permit. This is Shalila Stevens. Miss Stevens, last known to be living in Gadsden. She's wanted for failure to appear and obstruction of justice by using a false ID. Meet William McCurdy. Mr. McCurdy, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a forged instrument. And we'd like you to take a look at Paula Oswald. Miss Oswald, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on these folks, please call Crime Stoppers. That number 1-833-251-7867. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup and you know where they are. Give the sheriff's office a call or call Crime Stoppers, and they'll be happy to pick them up, give them a nice, cool place to stay. We're here with the mayor of Hobson City, Alberta McCrory. We're talking about economic development and all the cool stuff that's going on in Hobson City. So we took a break. You were talking about this new initiative.
Right, absolutely, working with the University of Alabama. And I can't say enough about our partners because we also have a partnership with Jacksonville State University and with Tuskegee and Spelman College in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And so what we're doing with this park piece, we're right now working with people in the community, getting volunteers who are going to help maintain the park long after the University of Alabama has gone and the funding has gone. So we want community people to help maintain the park. We want them to be part of helping to design the park along with the licensed, registered landscape person that we have working with us. And of course, you know, we have to make sure that we have liability insurance, and we do have liability insurance for everything in Hobson City, you know, that the city owns, of course. And so that's where we are with that. So we're looking forward to really getting the community involved. We've got about a committee now of about 12 or 13 people, you know, who are committed to helping to maintain the park once it gets done. It's one thing to go out there and upgrade and do some nice things and calm, but you've got to maintain it.
Well, you talked about a calm, safe place. That ties nicely into law enforcement and the sheriff.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, makes his job a lot easier.
Yep.
I won't have to call him as often this weekend. So that's where we are talking about some things, you know, in terms of maybe a water fountain, a water splash for the kids. We just don't know what's going to happen, but those are some of the things that we're talking about doing.
Well, and that you guys always have a presence down there because you're law enforcement for Hobson City, right?
We are.
Yeah. And so how does this park, I guess it doesn't complicate your job down there.
No.
It probably just
No.
enhances it.
Well,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
come and park out in the park and, you know, just sit there sometimes. I think it's because it's such a beautiful place. It kind of sits right when you're in Hobson City, you've got the mountains on each side of you. And it's just right there in that little valley. And if you just come and just really think about it, it's a really beautiful place. And
It is a beautiful place.
it really is.
And then economic development going on in the old school building. That's what
Absolutely, and that's what we're really looking forward to. I'll be meeting with a gentleman who's coming up. I won't call his name. He wants to look at what we are talking about doing in terms of, you know, restoring the building and so forth. He wants to come and see what we're talking about before he commits to serving on the committee for that. I've got several little committees going on.
I'm sure
but
you
it's
do.
good to have that because you need those people. You need that community support, you know, to get things done. So he's coming. I believe we're meeting at 1:30 so that he can walk through and kind of get a feel. And I invite people to come and just see, because sometimes when you're telling people something, they can't catch the vision, you know,
Right.
and so can't get it. So sometimes if they come and they look and they see, and it, you know, they have that little light that goes off, and okay,
I
I
think
hear you.
a
So
business incubator in Hobson City to focus on small minority-owned business development. Hobson City's the perfect place for that.
It's in a good location. It's really close to a lot of commerce already in a neighboring city, but there's a lot of opportunities. There should be a lot of opportunities for Hobson City from where they're located. It is walking distance from the downtown area, the old downtown area of Oxford, and it's really a lot of pretty old houses there. It's just a really wonderful area.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
And we want to also, you know, just above where we're located, there's some property that's where you can access Coldwater Mountain Trail. And we actually want to contact the people, I won't say actually, we want to contact the people who owns that property to see if they are willing to give the people access through their property to get to that trail.
Oh, nice.
And Hobson City having, I think I was told that there were 2 access points, but I know definitely that that's one. And it's just as you go up past, you know, where the second, no, it would be the 4th, what's those things, speed breaker. Just as you go past there, there's a vacant house on the right, and that's where that property is located. So
Well, maybe they will.
The family lives in Chicago, I believe, that owns that. So that's another piece that we're looking forward to, making sure that happens. Because
Hopefully they'll watch you on YouTube. And Hobson City always growing, and we look forward to seeing you again next month, and you can tell us all about what else is going on.
yeah, well, the festival will be coming up, so we'll talk more about the festival then.
We want to talk about that. But we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the crazy criminal portion of our show and the Crime Stoppers portion. So stay with us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask your help on the following cases. First up, between May 10th and May 21st, a train air conditioning unit was damaged and an unknown amount of copper wire was stolen from this residence on Highway 431 in Alexandria. And between June 17th and the morning of June 18th, a large blue toolbox with miscellaneous tools was taken from a barn on Pope Road in Ohatchee. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers cases. If you have any information on these cases, please call Crime Stoppers. That number 1-833-251-7867.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
It's crazy criminal time.
I tell you what, you know, we had a good one. I had somebody tell me last week's hireahitman.com was a pretty good one.
That was a good one.
And this one's, it's not, I don't know if it's as good, but it's up there. So if we can get the pictures up there. These 2 gentlemen here were arrested for stealing a house.
A house?
A house. I don't know if we got the other picture that we can put up there. I don't know if they did that or not.
A house.
But yeah, this is up in Lafayette, Louisiana. About 3:30 in the morning, the sheriff's office got a call of a house blocking a roadway, and it had knocked down numerous street signs, and it had knocked out a power to about 600 or 700 people in the community. And they get there, and there's a house on a moving thing being towed by like an 18-wheeler, just blocking the roadway.
Okay.
It's just sitting there. A whole entire house was sitting in the road where somebody drove it down the road.
So you're not talking like a modular home. You're
No, I'm talking about a
an old
house. I mean,
Wow.
a sure enough house. Well, these 2 gentlemen actually own the house,
Oh.
so they didn't get arrested for stealing it, but what they did get arrested for was moving it without the proper permits. They had tried to move the house, and the authorities told them that they needed permits and all this process to get it done, so they tried moving it in the middle of the night without paying for the permits, and knocked a bunch of power out, power lines down, street signs and trees, and damaged the house. And when police arrived, they just abandoned the house in the middle of the road. So,
I think that's Murphy's Law.
yeah, don't try to move your house without the proper permits.
You're going to tear down wires. You just are. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, Sheriff, it's Election Day. Of course, by the time people see this, the elections will be probably over or close to it. But I
We
hope
got to
they all
exercise
voted.
our rights.
We absolutely do. We thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week, but not on the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.